So did you have to come out?
Yeah, I did have to come out, weirdly. Strangely enough, and it was quite a process, but I got a fake ID when I was 16, so I was going to the gay bars, and I was still like, to my mom and stuff, pretending like I wasn't gay, but she didn't realize that. She just thought I was working late. But I was like going to the gay bar on my fake ID. While I started coming home with like eyeliner on, you know, I was trying to be like the scene, like little chubby scene kid with like my little faux hawk and buffoonery.
She thought you were, you said you were working late, but you were working late.
Yes, darling. Hey.
You was working.
And I was too, bitch, because you know at that age too, you're unafraid because you don't know what anything is.
Right.
And the attention you get, and you know, you don't think anyone around you realizes you're 16, but they all know you're 16. And they all are preying on your poor innocent 16 ass. But I loved it. So I ain't got nothing bad to say about that. But so no, when I was a senior in high school, I did come out finally. And my mom was actually a little upset. She was more upset at that than I thought she would be because my family defended me for so long. You know, the thing is like, even though we're feminine and all that, like, we convince our families that we're not gay.
Now, when did you start to dip a toe in drag? Because you're out of the house, you're doing your thing. When was that?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Girl, you couldn't stop me, bitch.
Right.
I mean, I was already at the gay bars. Hold on, let me get my little.
Doop, doop, doop.
Right. I was already at the gay bars early, right? So I was actually became friends with a drag queen really quick. And so I'm like 17 in the car. My dad got me, you know, for my 17th birthday, driving this bitch like a couple hours to a gig, you know, dressing this girl in drag. Like I was automatically attracted to it even before I turned 18.
Right.
But my first drag name was Eureka Refer.
Eureka Refer?
So, yeah, like Eureka Reefer.
I
thought I was real clever at the time.
Now, was it during that period of early drag that you had, there was a period where maybe you had to come out twice as trans because you were living as a woman for a while, and that's something you've touched on before.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever really had a roadmap of where that fits into your development.
Yeah. You know, I haven't touched on it, and I'll tell you why I didn't touch on it in season 9 or season 10, and it's because I decided to detransition at a point in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like for the trans movement that is something that the world is ready to understand.
Yeah.
And I was worried that if I explained that part of my story, that it would hurt fellow trans brothers and sisters or non-binary people, because people are just now starting to understand transitioning.
Right.
And a lot of people think it's, a phase or a this or a that. And I would hate to be like literally a representation or an example of it being a phase or something that's not truly who you are. But my path led to me being non-binary, gender fluid. I found a more centered place for myself where I was more emotionally stable. Mama's still a woman. Honey,
right.
When she needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Hello, clearly. You know what I mean? Clearly a lady. But, you know, there are also masculine tendencies as far as, like, the roles that I play with my family, as far as what I felt like my mother and my nieces and nephews needed from me. And also, I needed to find a personal identity away from drag. So, for me, I transitioned when I was 19.
Wow.
Really early, I met this guy who was really into Eureka. We really connected. We started dating heavy, and I lived with a trans woman that was a drag queen too at this point in my life, who was the same drag queen that I had been helping since I was like 16.
Right.
So I was very close with her. I was drawn to her. I grew up with women. I always wanted to be a girl, so it just seemed to add up for me, you know? Plus, I had this guy that basically validated that I was a trans person because he was ready to be that person by my side, you know what I mean?
Right, to show you the love that you were looking for.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and everyone wanted a relationship. So I'm with this guy, you know, and I lived trans for about 4 years. I went to college on campus.
That's no short amount of time.
No. I mean, I was full hormone therapied out of my mind, bitch. Girl.
She must have been emotional.
She was batshit crazy. She was batshit crazy. Mama.
Yeah.
When I tell you, and because I wasn't even, realistically, I'll be honest, I was not doing it the legal way. You know, I was ordering all the back market shots and pills and taking birth control control, and I was doing all the ways that the girls have to do sometimes when you don't have insurance or resources that we're starting to develop now. I was taking any hormone shot I could get. I was taking any spirulactone, which is a testosterone blocker, estradiol, which is an estrogen supplement, and I was like fucking with the chemicals in my brain and my hormones, you know, so... now, baby, my skin was soft and I barely grew any hair anywhere, bitch.
I bet.
And I was cunt, honey, and I might have shrunk 2 inches in my height, I think. That might not be true, I don't know. But you couldn't tell me I didn't feel like I was 6'1".
Right.
You know what I mean? And my hair grew, you know, so, and I became a woman. Your body shape changes. You develop fat tissue where milk sacs would be in your breast.
Right.
You develop, your nipples start to enlarge. There's so many factors physically, mentally, that changes with hormone therapy. And I was doing it in such a quick, drastic phase. I was changing so quick.
Wow.
But my chemical balance was completely fucked. So I got really dark, you know, towards the end of my transition. I was still forcing myself to go to school and stuff, but it was every other week I'm on social media like, should I live or die? I don't understand.
Wow.
You know, at like 4 years in, I had broke up with the guy that, I had broken up with the guy I was dating because he couldn't come to terms with the fact that he liked trans women. His family was very religious. It got really abusive, the relationship did. That's when I started researching and learning about gender fluidity and non-binary. And so I became like one of the first, I feel like, openly non-binary people in my life. And you know, I detransitioned 6 months before I made it onto RuPaul's Drag Race.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
People don't know that part.
Yeah.
So I literally auditioned, like I had auditioned 4 times in a row. And when I made it on Drag Race, it was like, I think there was like 6 to 8 months right before I actually physically made it on Drag Race. But when I decided to audition, I deleted everything about my transition, everything about Drag Race period off of all of my social medias. And I just tried to like re-audition as a new person, you know? So I think that's another reason why they didn't really touch base on it. Because I came into Drag Race, them not really knowing that part of my story.
You made it on Drag Race, and that must have been quite a change of world. You're going to school, you're in the South, and suddenly you're in Hollywood on the biggest show of them all.
Girl, I did not know who the fuck I thought I was. I had never even flown on a plane before.
Wow.
Bitch, you know what I mean? I was in the LA airport already buying souvenir magnets when I landed, bitch. You know what I'm saying? That said Hollywood on it. You know, and when you come film Drag Race, you don't get to see the Hollywood sign.
Right, they take you right to the hotel.
Yeah, you go straight to the hotel. They meet you there with your bags, you know, get your bags, your little 5 bags, serving country catfish. Here we go,
Yes,
here,
you were.
honey, with the only 1990s hairline, bitch, in my updo, honey. Swearing I was passable in the HD, bitch. Girl, bye.
When you got to the workroom, you did recognize, you knew Trinity the Tuck Taylor.
I knew that cunt, bitch, yes. I knew her.
What did you, your thoughts were, I gotta beat her?
No, my thoughts were goddamn. That was my thoughts, bitch. My thought was like, goddamn, I know she's gonna give me too much. You know what I mean? I know she's gonna be too much. I know she's gonna, you know, she knows who I am already. She's gonna be that, I already knew we were gonna have a problem.
Right.
Because I know that I knew that she was a competitor like I was. We come from the pageant circuit. We'd had our shady moments in the past together.
Oh, yes?
The show didn't even know that.
You definitely made yourself known in those first bunch of episodes you were on, and you were with a lot of big personalities on that season. You actually witnessed the famous Aja versus Valentina.
Oh, yeah.
Linda Evangelista moment.
Sure did.
What was that like backstage at that time? There was a lot going on.
You know, a lot of us were a little bit like, you know, annoyed, not everyone, but a lot of us were annoyed with like the persona Valentina was coming off with. Like she wasn't really trying to make friends. She was, you know, but honestly, that's competition, you know? But in that moment, we're all fresh and we're in the scene. You know, the first memory I have of Valentina is when I was like trying to make, you know, I was trying to crack jokes like literally the first moment she said a word to me besides the, hello, I'm Valentina. That's all she said. And then I was trying to joke with Peppermint and be like, you know my favorite shape, honey, it's round. And she's like, we can see. You know what I'm like? It didn't come across funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? It came across, fuck you, you stupid cunt. You know what I mean? What the fuck you mean? I'm being funny, bitch. What the fuck you know what I mean? So I can see where, you know, Aja came from a little bit.
Right.
But bitch, I'm gonna tell you, when we was in that untucked room, and Valentina started to do her monologue, you know, she said, ladies, I have something I want to say. And girl, you just see Aja over there in her chair like this, rocking. Bitch, Aja was rocking, bitch. She's like,
Lord. Oh, boy.
being the most dramatic. I mean, just rocking, bitch. Like, bitch, okay, and Valentina's like, I just don't understand why they did, and she was gonna say something like they didn't like something or something. I don't even remember. But all I know, bitch, is you could feel the air break in the room when she was like, all of a sudden it's Aja's like, oh yeah, because we're perfect, bitch, and it cracked.
Yeah.
Because Aja was over it. You know, and all the other girls saw it too. I mean, I grew to love Valentina. Make sure y'all keep that shit in.
Okay.
She got a lot of fans. I love Valentina.
Say it again for the cheap seats.
I love Valentina. I hit the note and she didn't. No. Oh my God. Y'all gotta stop giving me this. Oh man.
You walked yourself right into that one, sweetie.
This is the problem. I get comfortable, bitches. I start speaking honest. And then the next thing you know, you the fat hated cunt on Twitter.
Oh no.
But you don't like that. This is real tea.
Yeah.
It ain't my fault she didn't hit the note.
That's right.
It ain't my fault Aja cussed her ass out. But it was hilarious in person.
I bet.
And you know, it was honestly due. There was not a single person in that room. If you notice, if you watch that episode, you can literally watch it. Insert clip here, where everyone's sitting there like this.
Oh. Oh.
Not a single bitch sticking up for her, because everybody felt it. You know.
Yeah.
Valentina was feeling real, you know, fancy, bitch. Like, you know, the judges were loving it, like literally eating out of the palm of her hand, bitch. Everybody was over. I didn't give no fucks, honestly. I didn't even know what was going on. Y'all know my dumb ass was in the back, bitch, arguing with Charlie Hodds of all people.
You had a pretty great beginning of that season. And I say beginning because we all know after you hit it hard in that cheerleading challenge that your life pretty much changed after that.
I tore my ACL completely, you know, and I was ready. I would have crushed all the way to the end if I had to, but legally and also responsibly, there was just no way. So I knew something was going to happen in my head, but I thought I was going to be in the bottom.
Right.
So then when I wasn't in the bottom, I was like, oh, bitch, they at least saving me for Snatch Game. I say, yes, come on, Snatch Game.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like celebrating in the back, bitch. Me and the girls was like, you know, a couple of them was like, yeah, okay, bitch, yeah. Like, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, even to Trinity, I was like, okay, but you weren't wrong. Because Trinity was like, girl, they ain't going to do that. You know, they ain't going to put you in the bottom. They're going to treat you fairly. You know, and she was right. They did. But whatever, there was something that happened. It was so wild. This is the real tea. So Pheromone and Cynthia lip sync. When it's over, RuPaul says, I need a moment. And when I tell you, this bitch was gone forever.
Wow.
Have you ever heard this story?
Well, we saw her walk out.
But have you heard
camera.
this part of the story?
We have not.
Bitch, she walked out and literally was gone. It felt like for an hour.
Wow.
Like, it's the longest I've ever, and I've done, you know, 2 seasons now.
Yes, you have.
And a Christmas special. And it was the longest we ever had to wait on the runway, where they literally brought us stools, let us sit down. Like, they were catering to us because she was gone for a long time.
Wow.
And what I found out later is legitimately, she said that she wanted to talk to the doctor herself.
Wow.
I think that's why I wasn't I didn't cry until the girls were there and like crying with me, you know what I mean? Because they felt my heart.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a difference the first time you ever go there and like the dream that it is that you've gotten to come true, you know, and then to have it taken away from you, it puts you in a lower place than you even realize when it's something that your body took away from you.
Right.
It's not something your talent did or lack of. It's not something your intelligence did or the lack of. It was something my physical body, and that was the first time I ever became depressed about who my physical body was.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was a dark 6 months of my life recovering.
I bet.
That was the hardest time in my life, I think, to this date. Well, I didn't know, you know, and honestly, I'd never had an injury that severe.
Yeah.
And when I tell y'all I couldn't walk, and they told me that I may not ever dance again. When a doctor walks in a room and tells you, you may not ever dance again, you will always have pain from this knee, you may have a limp for the rest of your life. Like, these are the possibilities of the rest of your life.
So you finally got the word that you're back for 11.
For 10.
For 10.
I'm not Vanjie.
You finally got
Miss Vanjie.
You finally got the word that you're back for 10. You must have been thrilled, overjoyed, scared. What was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, I found out when the other girls found out.
Right.
Because up till then, literally, the producers, the executive producers, all of them told me, well, we're not sure. Ru hasn't decided. You might have to wait and come back a later season. We really want to make sure that you've really healed. And so, I mean, I ended up not knowing until the rest of the girls knew, you know. But when I did get that call, bitch, I was in work mode.
I bet.
What the fuck you mean, bitch? I'm about to be on my favorite TV show again. You know what I mean? Like, Drag Race is my favorite TV show in the whole world. It has been for 10 fucking years, you know? Now 11. Shit, I've been watching that shit since the first season.
Right.
At 18.
Hello, children. To see part 3 of this interview, click here. To see more Hey Qween fabulousness, click here. And don't forget to subscribe, bitch! Hey! Hey! Hey!